Hello everyone, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Went on a Date with Hinata. This story is made by Squallstorm, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist. To see more, comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. It was October 10th. He had dreamt of returning home for 3 years. Today was his 16th birthday. He was Uzumaki Naruto, vessel of the nine-tailed fox, walking alongside Jiraiya, one of the Sannin, one of the 3 great shinobi of Konoha legends. Naruto's sky-blue eyes darted down the familiar main street of his home village of Konoha. He wanted to do nothing more than see his old friends, and maybe have a bowl of miso pork ramen. He turned to his mentor, his friend and sensei Jiraiya. Hey, can we stop by Ichiraku before we go see Sunadba-chan? I haven't had ramen in 3 years. The white-haired man knew exactly how much the boy loved his ramen, so he nodded. Sure, but you go on ahead. Meet me at the Hokage Tower in 2 hours. We need to submit our report. Naruto was already dashing off at a hunger-driven speed, towards the very spot Jiraiya had taken him from 3 years ago. Crazy kid. He's just like Minato was at that age. If only you could see your son now, Minato. He's gotten very powerful, maybe stronger than you were at his age. He even mastered the Rasengan in 1 month. Jiraiya's gaze traveled up to the stone faces of the Hokages, and his eyes rested on the stern face of Namikaze Minato, the boy's father and the 4th Hokage. Of course, few people in the village knew just who Naruto's parents actually were. Among the living, only Tsunade, Kakashi and he knew the truth. He watched the boy run into the adjoining street where Ichiraku Ramen was situated, and he used his transparency jutsu to go, researching, as the slight L called it. Naruto walked slowly towards the little ramen stand, and noticed someone else was there. All he could see was the person's feet, which he could not discern an idini from just the shoes. He cautiously and casually walked towards the booth, and swung the paper lanterns out of the way, and his heart melted at who he saw. She had raven hair that flowed silkily to her waist, and her skin was very pearly. Their eyes met, and sky blue gazed upon pearl white eyes. It was Hyuga Hinata, but not the one he remembered. The Hinata he once knew was a dark and mysterious girl. The person he looked upon today was completely different. She was gorgeous. NNN Naruto-kun. Is that RR really you? The blonde was speechless. Ayami, the daughter of Ichiraku's owner, looked him over, and whispered to Hinata. Sure enough, I think he might be shocked to see someone he knew. Either that, or he forgot how to talk. Naruto was known for his stupidity around the village, but it was even better known that the heir to the Hyuga clan was madly in love with him. Hinata never admitted or denied it, but it was blatantly obvious to everyone. Everyone except Naruto. If only he knew how I really felt about him. Maybe he'll never see it, the Hyuga thought. Naruto sat next to her, and smiled, finally breaking out of his trance. Hinata, I didn't know you liked ramen. A slight blush spread itself across her face, as Ayami and her father quietly retreated into the back room, leaving the 2 young shinobi alone. Hinata softly giggled. I'm all alone with Naruto-kun. I can finally talk to him, just as friends. Compose yourself, Hinata. No stuttering. How was your training, Naruto-kun? You were away for so long. We all missed you. The blonde gave that dopey smile he always had around her, and Hinata felt her heart beat fast. Well, I learned how to control my chakras better. I also learned to improve the Rasengan. Jiraiya taught me about genjutsu, but I just can't seem to understand the importance. Hinata looked concerned. He had said chakras. Shinobi only have 1 chakra. She felt the need to ask. Naruto-kun, why did you say chakras? Naruto looked pained to have been asked that. Tears formed in his eyes. He didn't like to tell his friends that he harbored the great demon fox. She had a right to know, however. Hinata saw his tears, and she looked ashamed. She stood to go and started to walk, but he held a grip on her hand. It was a soft, loving touch, the touch she had longed for. Naruto stood, completely unaware that he held her hand in his. Meet me at the lake at the top of the mountains. I'll tell you there. Bring a swimsuit. I want to swim. Meet me there at midnight. Naruto slowly slipped away from her, ashamed that he had held her hand the way he did. He was already more than an hour late for his meeting with Jiraiya and Tsunade. He quickly hurried to Hokage Tower, and stood before Tsunade, second of the Sannin. Tsunade was very compassionate about Naruto's training. He was being hunted by Akatsuki. That was the reason he had been away for 3 years. Tsunade spoke to Naruto, questioning him directly about his birthday. So Naruto, today you turned 16. Do you have anything you wish to do? Or anything you want to know? The young ninja thought briefly and nodded. Well, I wanted to go up to the lake tonight at midnight with Hinata. She asked about him. He patted his stomach, implying the QB. Well, just don't tell her more than she needs to know. Oh, I have something to give you. Consider it a birthday gift from Jiraiya and I. Tsunade handed him a small scroll. It was addressed to Uzumaki Naruto. He opened it and began to read. Dear Naruto, if you're reading this, I'm no longer in this world, but you my son are. It was decided by myself long ago that if I asked before you turned 16, for the current Hokage to give this to you on that day. You are my son, and I wish I could be there to tell you happy birthday. But if you look out the window, you can see my face. Watching you always from heaven above. Namikaze Minato. The fourth Hokage. Naruto looked at Jiraiya and smiled. My father was the hero who saved this village from the QB. Now I know why you insisted on training me, Jiraiya. But, who was my mother? Tsunade shook her head and smiled sadly. We don't have a picture of her. But her name was Uzumaki Kushina. A Kunoichi of the former Whirlpool village. She is buried in a private cemetery, reserved for the Hokages. She is buried there, with your father. It was also his wish for you to visit the graves on this day. Come with me. Tsunade walked downstairs, and to the Hokage memorial grounds, and pointed to the grave of the fourth and his loving wife Kushina. Naruto quietly knelt beside his parents' final resting place, and placed a cherry blossom on the grave, offering a silent prayer to them both. Standing, he politely asked to be excused, for his midnight rendezvous with the beautiful Hinata. He quickly headed home, and changed into his swimsuit, and raced towards the mountaintop, where Hinata stood in the shadows, eagerly awaiting Uzumaki Naruto. October 10th, midnight. Hinata stood hidden in the shadows of the tree line. She was excited, and a little nervous. It was nearly midnight. The familiar crystal waters of the lake rippled slightly in a light, refreshing breeze. She perked her head up. She had her family's bloodline trait, the Byakugan, active. She saw Naruto approaching from the southeast. She quickly shielded herself from sight, and smiled inwardly. The blonde ninja quickly reached the lake, and began to scour the area for her. She wanted to play a quick game with him first. She had left her jacket hanging from a branch. She was hiding. He found her with ease, and stood underneath a tree limb. Hinata-chan, were you hiding from me? The beautiful Hyuga blushed a deep red, and nodded feverishly. His eyes were inches from hers. She could see the gentleness in his eyes, and her heart fluttered. She knew he wasn't just good looking, but he was a gentle and kind soul as well. She knew he would be nice to her. This is why she loved him. He was very gentle, but fierce to protect those he truly cared for. Naruto's calm voice snapped her from her trance, and he took off his shirt, hiding his stomach from view. He did not want her to see the seal on him. Tonight he would either be accepted, or he would lose a valuable friend. Hinata, let's get in the water. It's warmer in there. The shy Hyuga watched him slide into the water, wishing he would turn around. How she wished to see that body. Hinata softly stood in the shadows. Naruto-kun, could you please turn around while I get into my swimsuit? I'm very shy about this. The blonde nodded, and turned around, deep in thought, as Hinata took off her shirt, and her shorts. She stood there, her now curvaceous body gleaming softly in the moonlight. She reached into the bag she had brought, and put on her mother's swimsuit, the two-piece black and beige bikini. It showed off little but her curves. Hinata had grown from a girl into a beautiful young woman. She filled in the top nicely, and she let her hair fall to its full length. She spoke in her soft voice. You can look now. Naruto turned around, and when his eyes met hers, his heart fluttered. Hinata's eyes were shining softly in the dim silver light of the full moon. Her long raven hair streamed down to her waist, and Naruto held out a hand to help her into the water, forcing himself to look into her eyes. Not a bad catch, is she, kid? Go ahead, Look, you know you want to. A voice inside his head said. It was the QB. Stupid fox. Hinata is my friend. I couldn't do that, not to her. Now go back to sleep. Barker. And yet Naruto knew that the QB was correct. He badly wished to look at nothing but that heavenly body, but that would be another time, maybe someday in the future. He was here to tell her about the monster inside him. He stood out of the water, and sat. Hinata traced a path down his body, starting from the legs up. She blushed more and more as her soft gentle eyes alighted on his muscular sea, and Naruto found his eyes attached to hers, although for different reasons. Their eyes met, and the both broke into a soft laughter. Naruto stood, keeping his eyes firmly attached to hers. She didn't even notice the seal. I better do this before I lose all control over myself. Hinata, when you were looking me over, did you notice anything on my stomach? The shy Hyuga had not noticed, but she traced her eyes back to his stomach, and there was the black marking. She nodded and knelt until she was eye level with the seal. She softly eyed it, and stood back to face him, her face about a foot from his. Does it hurt? It looks painful. Naruto nodded. Have you ever wondered why your father and some of the village elders hate me? The truth was slowly dawning on the young woman, yet she shook her head. It took all her willpower to hold back her tears. She had learned to see emotions. She could tell he was in terrible pain over whatever that seal was holding in. 16 years ago today, there was a great battle between the fourth Hokage and the QB. Despite how powerful he was, the fourth could not kill the demon fox. So he used a sealing ninjutsu to pull the fox's soul from its body, and seal it away into a newborn baby boy. Hinata, do you know who that boy was? Hinata could no longer hold back her tears. She sobbed uncontrollably, and she unknowingly pressed her head into his sea. Naruto didn't like to see people he cared for cry. He put a tender arm around her, and drew her closer, whispering softly. I was that boy. But I'm not alone. I have friends. Great friends, like you Hinata. The shy Hyuga looked up at his smiling face. Her eyes were filled with tears, which he wiped away softly. He's holding me. He's been through so much pain. All these years I watched you, loved you, had faith in you. I love you Uzumaki Naruto. I wish you would see that. I've never been happier than I am right now with you. I just wish this moment would never end. Like me. Naruto-kun, I have something to tell you. But not now. I should be getting home. Father will be angry that I left the house so late at night, but can I ask you for a promise? The blonde nodded silently, staring deep into her gentle white eyes. I'll promise you anything Hinata. Hinata smiled and mustered her courage, and kissed his cheek, blushing fervently as she did so. Meet me back here, tomorrow night. Same time, same place. I'll tell you my secret tomorrow. Could you walk me home? They climbed out of the water, and she stood back in the shadows, as she changed back into her regular clothes, and Naruto stood far away, gazing upon the moon. Hinata stepped out of the shadows, and they started to descend the mountain trail together, side by side. She was shivering, so Naruto parted with his own jacket, and wrapped her in it. The Hyuga compound finally came into view, and Hinata used the secret entrance she had always known about. She kissed Naruto's cheek again in farewell, and the blonde ninja stood there, hidden in the shadows, pondering the night's events. Watching her disappear silently into the house, he turned to go, but when he heard the Hyuga leader, Hyuga Hiashi, yelling at his daughter, he stayed hidden. You were out until 4 in the morning with that demon S. How dare you Hinata? I forbid you to leave this house for any reason. Do you understand me? No father. I don't understand. Naruto is a gentle and pure boy, not like you were at his age. I heard all about you from mother before she passed away. You were never faithful to her. You always tried to seduce Namikaze Kushina. Even though she was happily married. You're the S. I hate you. Maybe Neji-ni-san was right. The Hyuga would be better off without me. Hiashi fumed at hearing the name of Kushina. He was about to strike his daughter, but Hinata was already packing her belongings. I want you out of this house Hinata. As of now, you are no longer a Hyuga, nor are you my daughter. But be warned, if I so much as hear about you with the demon brat, I'll have you sealed. Do you understand me? Hinata calmly walked to her father, and smacked him hard across the face, open-palmed. That's for my poor mother. And since I am no longer a clan member, you have no right whatsoever to tell me what I can and cannot do. Now, if you excuse me, I'll be heading over to Kurenai-sensei. Naruto saw her coming out of the house in tears, for the second time in one night. He stopped her at the gate. She looked shocked to see him. Naruto-kun, what are you still doing here? The blonde ninja's usual gentle blue eyes were a furious red. The QB inside had stirred upon hearing his mother's name. Hinata's gentle voice brought him to his senses, and he quickly regained his composure. I heard everything, Hinata. Kushina, she was my mother. That's why your father hates me so. If he hates us both, I can't let you stay alone. I have enough room at my place for you to stay. Please, Hinata. You're the first person to ever show me any real compassion. I really enjoy being with you. I'd like to, Naruto-kun. The blonde smiled and took her bags, and looked into her eyes. It's not too far. Walk with me. Hinata knew she was making the right decision the moment he took her bags for her. Hinata was by no means weak, but he was such a gentleman to her. When the pair arrived at his apartment, he opened the door for her, and sat her bags on the couch. There's only one bed, so you can have it. I'll sleep on the couch. Hinata wanted to have him in the bed cuddling with her, but she knew that might never happen. She nodded, and softly closed the door, to change into her nightgown, and Naruto fell asleep on the couch, waiting for morning to arrive. October 11th, 11:45 a.m. Naruto lay on the couch, wide awake, unable to sleep after the events of last night. So much had happened in just one day after he had returned to the village. He had found out that his father was the fourth Hokage, and Hinata had moved in with him. He thought he did it because she was a friend. Now he wasn't sure. Having a second voice in his head didn't help much. He was still arguing with the fox. Barker, admit it. You did it because you love her. Stupid fox. Hinata is my friend. Barker, you forget that I see everything you see. That girl has always watched you. She loves you. And if you still haven't figured out her big secret, that's what she's going to tell you tonight at the lake. You better figure out your true feelings and fast, because she's waking up. It's almost noon. Now leave me alone. With that the QB fell silent, and Naruto was left pondering his own true feelings for the Hyuga that was asleep in the next room. He heard her stir, and he laid there, eyes wide open. He heard the bedroom door creaking, and he saw her graceful form emerge from the room, still in her loose nightgown. She rubbed her eyes sleepily, and she sat next to him. Naruto-kun, you didn't sleep last night, did you? The blonde was obviously shocked, but he knew he couldn't lie to Hinata, nor did he have any desire to. He sighed and nodded. I couldn't. That Barker fox wouldn't stop partying in my head. When he starts getting excited, there's no stopping him. Hinata giggled at the thought of a demon fox throwing a party. She was curious as to why the QB would be excited. Hinata was known for her curiosity. Why was the QB excited? Do you actually have conversations with him? Naruto smiled that big dopey grin and chuckled. Well, he talks to me, but he's not much of a conversationalist really. He mainly gives me insight into people. You know, true emotions and stuff. And of course he likes to party. I heard that, kid. Just because I'm not talking to you doesn't mean I don't hear you. Just look at the way she's watching you. She's in love with you. Better figure out something fast. By the way, try something besides ramen once in a while. It makes me sick in here. Barker fox. Alright, what do you want me to eat? Anything but ramen for once. You can't see it, but it's starting to corrupt your stomach. At least try some veggies now and then. You sound like Kakashi-sensei. Alright, fine. We'll go have a salad or something for lunch. Happy now? Hinata was looking into his eyes softly as he conversed with the QB, and she slowly realized that the fox might have delved into her emotions and told Naruto. She loved him, but did he love her? I'll find out tonight. I just hope he doesn't freak out and run away. Noon brought about a new conversation. They turned to each other and smiled. Hinata, are you getting hungry? The beautiful Hyuga nodded, and Naruto watched her beautiful pearl-colored eyes surveying his new home. I love your eyes, Hinata. I'll tell you tonight how I feel about you. Want to go get a salad at the restaurant? QB said I should stop eating ramen for a while. Stupid fox. Hinata smiled at him, and stood. Naruto-kun, let's go, but I need a shower first. Could you show me to the bathroom? The blonde nodded, and took her hand, giving her some indication that he liked her. He led her to the back of the house, where a private bath awaited. He slipped his hand away from her, and smiled. Quote, I could get used to this. Naruto already treats me much better than father, I mean Hiashi treated me. I even have my own private bath. Maybe after I tell him. Hinata was lost in her thoughts. She was growing up. How she wanted to stay here forever. She just hoped that everything went as she planned it. She quickly retreated to her room, and changed. She sat on the couch, and smiled. The Uzumaki clan house was a grand and elaborate building, spanning 3 floors. Each was as magnificent as the last. Naruto entered the room and smiled, motioning to the door. May I escort you, Lady Hinata? She had never been called lady before, except by Neji, and he always called her that as a demeaning term. She giggled, and stood, and slid her arm into the one he held out for her. Such a gentleman. No one ever taught him manners, and despite the 3 years he was away with Jiraiya, he still is the pure and gentle boy I fell in love with almost 10 years ago. Naruto was waging an internal battle with the Kyuubi. Ha, I was right. You do love her. Say it. All right already. Barker, you were right. I do love Hinata. Now help. What do I do? Wait until you get her under the stars tonight. Bring a blanket, and a pillow. When she says she loves you, tell her you love her too. But don't rush the first K. Play it slow and take your time. You only get one first. Now go eat before you starve. No more advice from me. So the pair left, arms intertwined. A few heads were turned to see the seemingly new pair of Konoha. The word on the streets of Konoha was that Hinata was with Naruto. They walked into the restaurant of Konoha, and sat near the fountain they had implanted in the middle of the stone walkway. They ordered the chef salad. One was big enough to share. Even with Naruto's notoriously large appy, Hinata knew he would let her have as much as she wanted. The Hyuga was a good judge of character. A familiar voice to them both spoke. Hinata, Naruto, are you two on a date? Hinata's heart sunk. Sakura. The Hyuga girl turned a fiery red, and Naruto looked past Hinata, and saw Rock Lee sitting across from the pink-haired Kanoiki. An evil smile creased his lips, and he could not help it. He was happy for the first time in his life with Hinata. Hinata saw his smile, and traced his eyes to the ninja in green, and she also smiled evilly. Well, so you finally sickbed to Lee. I hope Sasuke doesn't come back. Jiraiya tells me he can be jealous. Sakura had never been more hurt in her life, especially by one of her closest friends. Hinata was laughing as Sakura ran from the restaurant in tears, closely followed by Lee. Naruto and Hinata burst out in laughter. Hinata, that was amazing. I've never seen you do that. They sat and laughed until the food came. They ate in silence, and Naruto let Hinata eat first, before he finished what she left. Their eyes met numerous times, and they reached across the table and held each other's hands softly each time their eyes met. Naruto would smile, and Hinata would blush. Naruto-kun, let's go up to the lake now. I can't wait any longer. We'll stay until dark. The blonde nodded, and paid for the food, and walked with her arm in arm back to the Uzumaki clan house. They quickly collected their swim gear, and Naruto brought a blanket and a pillow, just like the Kyuubi instructed. If this works, you can party all you want. I really owe you one. Kid, you owe me a lot more than that. But let me throw a big one, and we'll call it even. Just don't blow it like you usually do. I've grown attached to this place. Just know when I do get out, I'll spare you and that girl. Good luck, kid. Hinata came out of her room with her normal clothes on, and her swimsuit underneath. They walked at a slight distance until they got up to the lake, and Naruto just took his shirt off, completely comfortable around her, now that Hinata knew the truth. The shy Hyuga easily slipped out of her clothes now that they had shared a few days together. She stood before him, and his eyes alighted on hers. They both waded into the cool water, as the sun set below the mountain peak. They splashed each other and laughed, until Hinata sat by the bank, and Naruto joined her. She turned to face him, the clear blue eyes she loved staring into her own. Naruto-kun, I want to tell you what I've been hiding for the last 10 years. Naruto nodded, and the Kyuubi offered his last advice. This is it, kid. It's now or never. You get one chance to tell her, so be a man and do it, but not until she tells you. Thanks. I will. Naruto-kun, did you ever notice me watching you train, or following you around no matter where you went? The reason for that is because I love you. I always have, and as far as I'm concerned, I always will. Your courage, your determination, they have always inspired me. I was able to tell you this finally after 10 years. I was wondering, do you feel the same way about me? Hinata's eyes filled with tears as he took a long time to answer. She wasn't expecting a yes answer. What he said next utterly surprised the young woman. Hinata, the last day since I've been back with you, has been amazing. I always told myself not to get involved with you, because of your father. But now that you aren't under his care anymore, I can safely say that I love you too. You make me happy. Not the kind of happiness I feel when Iruka-sensei buys me ramen, or not the happiness I felt knowing my father was a hero. You make me feel needed, like I belong with you. I want you to be with me, always. The raven-haired young woman broke into happy tears as he reached for her hand, and she gave it to him, and they pressed their palms together, intertwining their fingers lovingly. A smile creased both of their mouths as he leaned in to hug her, both of them in happy tears, palms still touching. The QB smiled to himself and whispered to Naruto. Good job, kid. You did it. Flashback. October 10th, 10 p.m., Hokage Cemetery. Naruto had just finished reading his father's last letter. Soon had watched the young shinobi by his parents' graves. As he stood, he spoke. Sunad Bar-chan. I need to go get ready for the lake. Can I go now? Sunad nodded, and held out a small envelope. Instructions on how to start the Uzumaki clan once more. As the last Uzumaki, you have the authority and the right to claim the clan house of your family. This was your father's wish. Use it well, Naruto. Now go to your new home and prepare to meet Hinata. October 11th, midnight, the lake. Naruto and Hinata lay on the blanket, side by side, hand in hand. He loved her, and she loved him. Never did he imagine that the once dark and shy Hinata would be his first love. Never did Hinata imagine that the man she loved would be here with her, under the stars. She slowly nudged him with her head, and their eyes met once more, and the raven-haired woman put her head on his sea. Naruto wrapped an arm around her, and softly ran his fingers through her hair. Hinata slowly closed her eyes, as did Naruto. He took his jacket and softly draped it over her upper body. They both fell asleep there on the mountaintop, watched by Neji. Flashback, October 11th, noon, Hyuga compuned. Hyuga Hiashi stood in the main gathering hall of the clan house, venting his rage at his nephew, Neji. I want that be found and brought back here. Do you understand me, Neji? Find her, and bring her back. Neji had no intention of doing that. Hinata knew what he was really doing. He was secretly dating Tenten. He had been for a year, and he was never happier. Neji had secretly devised a plan with the help of his friends. He was to bear the wrath of Hiashi just a bit longer. The plan was to find Hinata, and warn her of Hiashi's true intentions. To do so, he needed the help of Kiba, Lee, Sakura and Tenten. Kiba tracked her and Naruto all day. The restaurant was Lee and Sakura's job. Hinata had insulted Sakura because of Naruto. Neji had followed the pair up to the lake, and that's where he saw them. End of flashback. The Hyuga boy softly walked to them, and shook them awake gently. Hinata, Naruto. I have bad news. The pair had stirred and Hinata sat up. Naruto opened one eye and saw Neji standing there, a stern look on his face. Neji-ni-san. What are you doing here? Hiashi wants you gone, Naruto. And he wants to seal Hinata and sell her off to another family. He has always hated you, Naruto. We'll keep him off of you for the time being, but you need to find a way to keep you and Hinata together. By law, he has no right to hurt either of you. She's an Uzumaki clan member now, not a Hyuga. I'm being followed, so I can't tell you everything. But I do approve of your decision. Just treat her right, Naruto. That's all I ask. You two should probably go to a neighboring village and wait for me there. Naruto and Hinata quickly stood and dressed. They had fallen asleep in their swimsuits. Naruto picked her up in his arms, and disappeared into the night, talking back over his shoulder. I don't know what's going on, but I owe you one, Neji. We'll be in the curry place we were at when we fought Raiga. You come and tell us when it's safe. Don't worry, I'll protect Hinata with my life. Neji watched them flee, and turned to face the wrath of the one who had followed him. He turned to face the wrath of his uncle, Hyuga Hiashi. He was prepared for the worst, the caged bird seal. Instead, he looked into his uncle's face, and the last thing he saw was his uncle's fingers in his heart, as he lost consciousness from Hiashi's juken. He thought as he blacked out into unconsciousness. Take care of her, Naruto. October 13th, 7:30 a.m., unknown village. Naruto and Hinata had their romantic first night together seashore by the sudden arrival of Neji and Hiashi. They were determined to stay together, no matter what. Naruto had said he would protect her with his life. He had promised not just Neji, but Hinata as well. Hey, Kyubi. We have a problem. Any advice you can give me? Get a place to stay, kid. Just put it on the Uzumaki account. You should be able to convince them. And then go have some fun and lighten up. Neji looked like death. Don't tell Hinata, but he might be of malnutrition. And try and get some clean water in you. All the crap you drink is ramen broth. Thanks. Will do. Hinata was worried about what Neji had said. He wanted to sell her. Like hell he will, thought the Hyuga girl. She turned to look into Naruto's eyes. Naruto-kun. Where are we going? We're going to rent a room. After that, we're going to have breakfast together and celebrate us being a couple. There. He sat her on her feet, and kissed her cheek. Hinata blushed, and slowly closed her eyes, still sleepy from their flight from Konoha. It had been 2 days since they had slept, but she felt safe with Naruto. He was talking with the innkeeper, and came back with a room key. We'll stay here. Come on, I'll carry you up to the room. You look exhausted, Hinata. I promise you, after this, you can sleep all you want. He swept her off her feet again, and she pressed her head into his warm muscular sea. He opened the door to their room, and laid her on the bed. She was very sleepy, and he decided to just let her sleep. He was yawning to, and lay face down next to her. October 13th, 8:37 p.m. Hinata awoke late that night. She had slept very well, and saw Naruto still asleep next to her. She climbed out of the bed slowly, and turned on the shower. She wanted to change out of her dirty clothes. The Hyuga woman had always been concerned about her hygiene. She quickly showered and changed into fresh clothes, leaving the jacket off. Naruto stirred as she sat on the edge of the bed. Naruto-kun, can we go out and have some fun? It's been so long since I did anything with you. Naruto sat up and hugged her. All right, let me shower and we'll go out. The Hyuga nodded, and watched him disappear into the shower. He came out a few minutes later, and looked at her eyes. Let's go out and have some fun. I know a place where we can get some food and drinks. Shall we? Hinata stood and walked into the bathroom, and slipped into a long flowing red dress, that was tight around the waist. It showed a little of her cleavage and the curves of her waist. She took off her ninja sandals and put on low red heels and put on soft black eyeliner, and she walked out with a slight blush on her face. Naruto's eyes widened and he slipped into his father's suit. Shall we go, Lady Hinata? Yes, let's, Naruto-kun. They left the room hand in hand, and went to the only open restaurant in the village, a small bar. He sat next to her, and accidentally ran into the bar. Ouch. Hinata giggled as a soft song started to play. Naruto held his hand out. May I have this dance, Hinata? The beautiful Hyuga slid from her seat and took his hand, and he put his hands on her waist, while she put her arms around his en. The songstress softly sang, and their eyes met as she sang. October 15th, Konoha, Hokage Tower, noon. Word had spread like wildfire in Konoha. Hinata had run away with Naruto, and Hiashi had gone after them with the intent of killing Naruto. Neji was in the hospital, but was expected to make a full recovery. Hiashi had escaped to an unknown location. Tsunade looked over the report that Neji had left. Tsunade s her fist into the desk, making such a loud ruckus that two Anbu rushed into the room, thinking she was under attack. Hokage-sama, are you alright? Tsunade nodded and rubbed her temples. The two Anbu started to leave, but she motioned for them to sit. I want Hyuga Hiashi found and brought back to this village immediately. Bring in Izuka Kiba, Hitaki Kakashi and Aberrane Shino to me. And Genma as well. A.N. If you can tell me Genma's last name, it would be appreciated. They only show him like twice in the manga, and they never mention a last name. The two left, knowing exactly what she had in mind. The village's three best tracking shinobi. The situation was desperate if she had to call in them. One parted to the left, heading for the Inuzuka residence, the other to Kakashi's. Inuzuka residence, 1 p.m. Kiba sat at the table, eating his lunch. The family's prized hounds walked around, pacing here and there. Akamaru was curled up in his upgraded doghouse. Sitting across from him, wrapped in a jacket from head to toe, was Aburame Shino. There was a knock at the door, and Inuzuka soon answered. The Anbu frantically related Tsunde's message. Inuzuka Kiba, Aburame Shino, Genma and Hitaki Kakashi are to leave immediately in pursuit of Hyuga Hiashi. He has committed a crime and must be brought to justice. Meet Genma and Kakashi at the gate in 5 minutes. Shino looked over at Kiba and stood, walking out of the door. Kiba roused Akamaru from his sleep and walked out the door as well. Forests of Konoha, 1:30 p.m. The four-man cell quickly departed the village, with Kakashi's summoned nin dog Pakken leading. Kakashi was right Pakken. Kiba was right behind him, with Akamaru under him. Following was Shino, a small swarm of Kikaichu around each arm, searching for the scent given to them. Genma was there as backup. All other Junin were busy with other missions. Suddenly, Pakken called for the team to halt. He had found Hiashi. Konoha Hospital, 2 p.m. Hyuga Neji lay in the bed, listening to Tsunde's orders. She had released him from medical care, and was sending him on a secret mission. Neji, your mission is simple. Track down Naruto and Hinata and bring them back to the village. Tenten will be accompanying you. They were last seen east of here, staying in a small unnamed village. Go there first. You leave immediately. Tsunde left and Tenten walked in, and she sat on the edge of his bed, as he sat up to hug her. Sorry I got you into this, Tenten. I'll make it up to you, I promise. Tenten nodded, and planted a soft kiss on his cheek. I know you will, Neji. But let's go. We'll talk later, on the way. And so the ninja lovers departed, hand in hand from the village. Team Kakashi, 2:17 p.m. Kakashi stepped forward, and Pakken disappeared into a puff of smoke, in the event of an impending battle. Kakashi began to read from a scroll, a warrant for the arrest of Hyuga Hiashi, sealed and stamped by the 5th Hokage and the daimyo of the Land of Fire. By order of the 5th Hokage, we hereby place Hyuga Hiashi under arrest. You are charged with the abandonment of an underage shinobi, assault with the intent of M, and for fleeing from authority. You are required to stand trial for your crimes, and are to be incapacitated until we return to Konoha. Do you understand the terms of your arrest? They stood waiting for an answer, and before they could react, Genma fell to his knees, a kunai S into his spine, held by Hyuga Hiashi. Genma fell to the floor, S. Kakashi motioned Kiba and Shino to prepare for battle, raising the headband off his left eye, revealing the Sharingan. Shino wrapped his arms in the beetles, and Akamaru barked, Kiba right next to him. Hiashi spoke. You think you can defeat me? You will not be taking me back to the village until I kill that demon S. Kakashi reached into a pouch, and withdrew 4 kunai. Hiashi, you have just committed a high crime, that of M. You are under arrest, but I should kill you here and now. But I will only disable your legs and arms. Are you ready, Shino? Ready. The Aburame swung one of his arms, and a mass of beetles swarmed from his fingertips, and ensnared the Hyuga in a writhing mass of insects. Hiashi tried to create the chitin, but the beetles were devouring his chakra. Kakashi leapt forward, and plunged 1 kunai into each of Hiashi's limbs, rendering them useless. They then proceeded to take him back to the village for trial. Konoha Public Courtroom, 3:30 p.m. They stood in a massive courtroom in the Hokage residence. Hiashi Hyuga had received medical attention for his wounds, and was now being tried as a criminal. Kotetsu was presiding as bailiff, with Tsunde as the judge. The jury was the other clan leaders, as well as the Konoha elders. All rise. Hokage-sama, Lady Tsunde presiding. All parties have been sworn in, and are ready to begin the case. Madam Hokage, if you would. We are here to determine the fate of Hiashi Hyuga. The accused has been charged with M, desertion of a teenager, attempted M, and fleeing from the village to escape his crimes. How do you plead? Tsunde gave Hiashi a cold death glare as she read over the events of Genma's death. Hiashi thought to himself, I will get off with AS on the wrist. I am a powerful clan leader. They can do nothing. Not guilty. The trial went remarkably in favor of Hiashi as various upstanding citizens testified that Hiashi was a good and honest man. And then the subject of Hinata came up. Kurenai was the first on the stand. Kurenai, tell us in your own words how Hiashi treated Hinata when you were around. Was he a loving father? Or was he a cruel and merciless brute? Kurenai had nothing to fear. He would never show her any respect or love. At the Chunin exams, he had been too focused on watching Neji and Naruto's match to notice his daughter was suffering from her heart, which was weakened by her match with Neji. When she became a genin, he told me she was a liability to the Hyuga clan. The jury had already made a decision, it seemed. However, there was still more charges, but the only one that needed to be discussed was that of the M of Genma. M was a serious crime. Kakashi was on the stand as the team representative. Kakashi, tell us exactly what happened. We found him in a grove of trees, near the stream leading into the waterfall village. We read him the warrant, and he dropped from the tree line, and before our very eyes, plunged the kunai in Genma's spine. We captured him immediately, and brought him back. Soon it called for the jury to deliberate and come before them with a verdict in an hour. Naruto and Hinata, 4:47 p.m. Naruto and Hinata were swimming in the lake nearby. As they swam, embracing each other, Naruto's head snapped up to look Neji square in the eyes. Hinata jumped out of the water, and ran to Neji, hugging him tightly. Neji was not used to hugging anyone except for Tenten, but he hugged her back nonetheless. Naruto walked to Neji, offering his friend his hand, which Neji took in his own, shaking it firmly. Neji, if you're here it means it's safe to go back. Shall we? Neji shook his head. First listen to all that's happened while you were away. Hiashi attacked me just as you fled. He aimed for my heart, and left me for S at the lake. Luckily Tenten was there as well. She brought me to the hospital, and Sakura took care of me. Second, we have this. Hiashi has been arrested and is now standing trial for attempted M, among other things. We need to get back to the village as fast as we can. Hinata took it all in and nodded. She had grown tired of her father's constant poor treatment of her. He treated Hanabi far better. She thought that death would be suitable, but the council would not go that far for attempted M. Naruto stood, and pulled out a strange-shaped kunai, and threw it at the wall. They were instantly back at the Uzumaki residence. His friends and Hinata were all looking at him with bewildered amazement. I'll explain later. We have to get to the trial. They set off and quickly reached the courthouse, flinging open the doors. Konoha Courthouse, 5 p.m. Everyone in the courtroom turned to see who had entered the room, as Naruto, Hinata, Neji and Tenten walked into the rows to see the end of the trial. All rise for the verdict of Hiashi Hyuga. Chairman of the jury, if you would. It was Nara Shikaku who had spoken. We the jury find the defendant Hyuga Hiashi guilty of all charges, which combined call for or lifetime imprisonment. Hinata broke into tears at those words. Her father had abused her and Neji for sure. But those did not call for death. Kurenai sat next to her and hugged her. She whispered to the young woman. Hinata, he M. Shiranui Genma in cold B. The jury is deliberating. If he S, you will become Hyuga clan leader. Hanabi will be next in line, unless you have a child. As leader, you could unseal Neji and make him a member of the main branch. Hinata pulled away from Kurenai, and pushed her head into Naruto's sea. He put an arm around her, and ran his fingers through her silky hair. She looked up into his eyes, and he leaned down to kiss her. Hiashi saw them, knowing he was wrong all these years about Naruto. He awaited his sentence. Shikaku came back with the sentence. The sentence chairman. We the jury, the clan leaders of Konoha, the Nara, Akamaiki, Aburame, Yamanaka, Inuzuka, the Sarutobi and the Haruno. We have unanimously decided on immediate E for the M of Genma Shiranui. We find death by Chidori or beheading to be the most humane. And furthermore, in the place of Hyuga Hiashi, we appoint his eldest daughter, Hyuga Hinata as clan leader. Hinata nodded, and whispered to Naruto. Will you be with me always? Always Hinata. Let's go. I don't want to watch him S. Neji and Tenten had already left, knowing the sentence. Dash. E grounds, midnight. Hitaki Kakashi had been chosen as E for Hyuga Hiashi. As much as she did not wish to be there, Hinata was required to witness the E. As the new clan leader, Hinata was to be witness. Naruto was there for support. Also present were the members of the jury. Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoiki and Akamaiki Chusa, among others. Kakashi began to read the mandatory statement. Hyuga Hiashi has been found guilty of M, and has been sentenced to death. Chidori has been chosen by the convicted, and I am the only one capable, so let us proceed. Kakashi charged his chakra into his hand, and whispered, "Forgive me Minato. Reikiri, Nejini-san, take off your headband. I'm going to unseal you. And as soon as I do, you will be a member of the main branch. The Hyuga clan owes much to you, and I think this is the best way to repay you." Neji was ecstatic, yet he calmly took off the headband, and sat next to Hinata. She did a long string of hand seals, and pressed a finger to the caged bird seal, and wiped it away with chakra. Neji bowed low to her, but Hinata shook her head. Quote, Neji turned a deep red, but just smiled. He knew that Tenten hadn't come that loud. He walked back to his chambers, and Hinata turned to Naruto. She turned on a little music, and it was their song, Eyes on Me. She held out her hand, and Naruto took it, and they danced in the main hall of the Hyuga compound until the early morning, where they retired to her room, and lay cuddling. To be continued. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.